Why? So when I was first studying Sm'algya and really understanding that what it means by polysynthetic language, you know that it's not the most inviting term. A lot of the terms that linguists use to talk about our language, but once you understand what they mean, it does help to just have a shorthand way of saying that essentially Sm'algya is made up of long looking words that each part of it, whether it's, I think in Gamsiwama in English, we're used to talking about prefixes and suffixes. Well, Somalia is very specific in that it has what are called prenomials, things that go before a noun, and that's all that nom refers to, and preverbials, things that go before a verb. And then it has also things that go on the end of words, suffixes. So in studying that, and I know that it's happened to many learners, you have this realization that God, heart, is really central to so much of how we express ourselves in Sm'algya. That there's a university in my Sm Łoodm Nüüsm right now, my new mom brain, it just flew out, that has a center of heart knowledge where they're studying the ways that knowledge is actually knowledge and memory and all sorts of things are actually kept physically within the heart. And I feel that this is ancient knowledge that our people have had as Sm'algya speakers, in that even when we talk about what we're thinking, we're talking about our heart. I've yet to find ways of thinking that come from your wingaus and from your brain. So the presentation today that I'm giving is Speak from the Heart. So one of my Sm'algya mentors, Velna Nelson, she's a first language fluent speaker that joined us a couple sessions. Algech waatgit agot is how she prefers to say speak from the heart. And you can see the speak is in the root word form. It doesn't, it's essentially an open invitation. It's not commanding anybody. So algech waatgit agot. Let me. So this is essentially what I just said, that we're that Sm'algya is really about expressing feelings, states of being, as well as thinking from our God. And as you're learning quite quickly, I think Sm'algya is not just a bunch of words for things, that there's so many metaphors that exist within our language that really give you a sense of how our ancestors viewed the world. And in that way, we have this incredible opportunity to see the world through our ancestors' eyes and be able to start gaining that, I really feel, a higher level of consciousness to be able to view the world that way ourselves. And it really does, I know a lot of the learners that have come on recently have been very open about their feelings about learning their language for the first time, our language for the first time, and how they don't know why they're getting so emotional. And it's because really, I mean, I feel like for all Indigenous people, it's going to hit you in the deepest places within you as a spiritual being. So your heart, your soul, your being, and Sm'algya speaks right to your God. As Alflet was sharing, he'd shared in Deyuwilla Haun. Haun, the root word of haun is to say. And what we're referring to when you're asking about someone's feelings, willa hautka God. So what is your heart saying? Willa hautka God. And I remember this being posed to me in Gamsuamach in English when I was in places. When I lost my father when I was 22 years old, and I had a lot of really amazing uncles who stepped in, especially my uncle Mel Booth, who is also a Sm'algya speaker, and him and my uncle Arnold Booth would ask me this in English, and then as my Sm'algya started to develop more with them, they asked me in different ways in Sm'algya. So our feelings are literally what our heart is saying. This is my beep, Arnold Booth. This is when I first started to, when I decided I was in my master's program at UBC, just going into it, and I started my apprenticeship with him in order to have some LA count towards my master's degree. And he asked me, I wasn't sure if I was going to finish my PhD. Things at the university are really brutal and can be spiritually violent. And the closer I got to getting it, the more the people who said, someday someone like you is going to replace me, as though this is something that they wanted, the more they slammed my heads in the gates. And so those gatekeepers made me really question whether or not I even had the capacity to finish. And I was visiting my beep, who was then 91 years old, and he asked me this: Goth will how do Gordon? What does your heart say? And he called me up about a month later and said, I'm going to give you a name for receiving your PhD. The feast is in April. And this was September of 2014. And I wrote 300 pages of my dissertation between September to December because I didn't even have a full draft of my dissertation yet. I defended my dissertation 2 days before this feast right here where this photo was taken, which was the feast that he held in April of 2015 for his wife, Mary Booth, who is also a fluent Sm'algya speaker. It was her memorial, and that was their coming out of mourning feast. And that's when I became Sm Łoodm Nüüsm. I was Shkugodlachski before that, and I gave my name to my niece. So Goth Willahadu Gordon. So my beep, being 100 years old almost, when you think how long his life experience is, and that he was raised primarily by his grandparents, you're talking about being able to carry forward, centuries of firsthand knowledge, and know that with some Sm'algya, when we talk about Lach Oi, time immemorial, where we've been blessed to have speakers like my beep Arnold to bring forward that knowledge from centuries back. Goth willa howdu Gordon. Can I have everyone give that a try? Goth willa howdu Gordon. So I'm going to call out Michela.
Goth willa howdu Gordon.
Amtaben. Pamela.
Goth willa howdu Gordon.
Oh, Amtaben. Oops. Accidentally changed the slide. Lindsay.
Goch willa howdu Gordon.
Sekyalini. Amtaben, Lindsay.
Goth willa howdu Gordon.
Amtaben. And Amtaben, Pamela. My computer was being crazy, being momps. Charlene.
Gosh willa howdu Gordon.
Oh, Amtaben. Serb.
Goth willa howdu Gordon.
Oh, look, I'm a bless. It's so beautiful. This is one of my favorite all-time Sm'algya anything, so I love hearing it from you guys. Barb.
Goth willa howdu Gordon.
Local. And Cindy and Will, I'm not sure if you're at your computer, but if you're on, let me ask you unmute yourself. There you go, Cindy.
Okay, Goch Wilhelm Golden.
Goch.
How do?
There
Okay,
you go.
Goch Wilhelm Golden.
Oh, Goch willa howdu Gordon.
Goch Wilhelm Golden.
Oh, Zaben. Look what and I see Will's photo missing on my screen, so I'm not sure if he's still around. Samtiyu, Kahan.
Gosh will how do you Gordon?
Oh, Zaben. So as Alfred started, it was a really good introduction into talking about your feelings, that this haun at the end of Ndeyu willa haun, to talk more about your feelings, ending the sentence with how you is more about how you're feeling. Sm'algya also being a verb-centered language, there's an emphasis on doing. Everything, the verb always comes first in Sm'algya sentences. So, Will, you're on. Did you want to give Goth Willa How Do Gordon a try?
Sure, sorry, everything just keeps dropping, but okay. Gosh, what a how do Gordon.
Oh, I'm up us. Beautiful. So noting that there's the keyword right here, how shows up. So you're talking about, again, how your heart is feeling. And when we talk about particular feelings, for example, to be happy in Sm'algya is luam god. To say I'm happy in Sm'algya is luam godu. Lu is in, am is good. So what we're essentially saying in Sm'algya is that I have goodness in my heart. Luam godu, luam godu. Lugoya godu, Goya, and those of you that may have heard this growing up, Goya is poor, and it's said a lot in teasing, oh, gabagwet, or gabagoya, it's poor baby. Goya, Lugoya golden is to say that somebody is sad, like the person you're talking to. Lugoya godu, I am sad. And even our words for being proud of somebody. Adiksagodu, I am proud. Adiksagodu dagwasam, I'm proud of all of you. Adix, if you take adix and you talk about it without God, it means to be arrogant, standoffish, or snobbish. So that's how much God changes the meaning. And it's not to say that every time you have God in a feeling that it changes it to a positive. There are also negative feelings like Lugoya God that happen, but just how powerful that it can change what it is that you're saying. Luam Godu, Lugoya Godu, Adixagodu, Adix. If you hear, and that's another one that's used in teasing all the time. Adix is when it's also used to talk about people who are picky eaters. So especially if you say no to our traditional food, someone will call you adix, and they're just like teasing you that you're too good for our food. So does anyone want to give one of these a try? I could say it one more time. Luam godu, Lugoya godu, Adixagodu, Adix.
I'll try one. Which one? Just any?
Any which one you want to try.
Adixagodu.
Is that Barbara? There you go. Adixagodu. I'm 7.
Duam Godu.
Is that Michela?
Lugea Godu.
Lugoya Godu. Look what there's lots and lots and lots of heart words, so I'm not going to be able to have enough time to go through it with everybody, but just to give you a sense of it. So Luwantka Godu is to say that you're worried. One is the plural for which is one person sitting. One, like when we give the command and like you sit. If I was when I'm in my classroom, I say once and you all sit. And then essentially it's about that thing, whatever it is that you're worried about, just sitting in your heart. My Uncle Woody Morrison always talks about worrying being a rocking chair. Gives you something to do, but it's nowhere, right? So that same sort of concept that it just sits there. It's not really doing anything productive. Luhach gagodu, luhach gagodu. Hach, you can see the root word below, is to suffer, and it's to say that you're fed up. And this also lutoch gagodu, that was in Sagop's presentation. Lutoch gagodu. Toch is difficult. And when you say lutoch gagodu, I really need to probably put this in the slide too, is that it's also a way to talk about depression in Sm'algya. Like if you're lutoch gagod, it's really going to set off some concern for your well-being if you'd said that to someone that really understands what it means. So we not only speak from our God in Sm'algya, but we also think from there. One of my favorite sayings in Sm'algya is Luk aga God, Luk aga God. Ka means to open, and Lu again is in. So it's saying that your heart is starting to open to something when you start to think about it. It's also to remember something or someone. Lu aga God. Hatli God is to think or to have an opinion about some place, or to think or to have an opinion about anything. The place part of it is Hatli. So it's like this time, when, place, where, that is a prefix in a lot of Sm'algya ways of thinking, doing, and also objects. How got is to consider or decide. And you can see it's the same how as the other ways of asking how you're doing or saying how you're doing that I've shared. It, that how means to say. Our word for unity has got right in the center. So that got that Shugaina shared with us, her little cute little COVID inspired hug. We have a concept of unity that's very similar, and it's Sagait. Sagait is together. Ulam, the ul is one. The M makes it a compound word. It's our compound connector. So Sagait ulam God is how we talk about unity, and it's to come together with one God, with one heart. And also another way that we talk about unity is to take God off of there and add gaith. And gaith is a bowl. And at our feasts here, it's sometimes a physical bowl that is entered into the feast hall to symbolize coming together with one gaith. And our gaith is really our Hatli, it's our world. We share this one world, and that's part of our ways of thinking about sustainable living. Dech, God, patience, which is something I have to work on. I have all the patience in the world for my natty, but not for much else. God, is to be, is only. So our way of talking about being a person who is kind or helpful, or ways of being kind or helpful, is essentially being all heart. Oops. So here's other ways that are to talk about your God, your feelings. Omagot is selfish or greedy. Omgot is hopeful. You see how the small change in that? So with that A, it's selfish or greedy. Without it, it's hopeful. That's why we have to look amani. We have to be very careful. Outgegot, wishful thinking. The Scott. We have so many different ways of talking about crazy in Sm'algya. A long list of this is how crazy this is. And Liscott is so that licks astihanu. Lickskod, that licks is different. It's the same different as like in lickskiget when you talk about different kinds of things. Hamgot, that's when you like someone as a boyfriend or a girlfriend. It's essentially your heart is speaking to that person. So we talked about Indei Willahound, and that's ask someone how they're doing. But when you're talking kind of in the third person, like you and that person are talking about somebody else's feelings, and death Willahound God, you keep the T on the end because it's he, she, it, or they. I'm gonna be mindful of the time because, oh, cool, look at that. We got 1 minute till the next session. So I wanted to show you, and I'm so glad that Sekyalimi is here, because when Sekyalimi and I were taking a immersion training workshop together with a great teacher by the name of Dr. Gray Morning, her and I were talking about God, and then she opened up her notebook and she showed me this, and I was like, so cool, because you know, being that we're super close cousins and that we grew up together, immersed in our culture, that our learners are having these like epiphanies about Sm'algya that I really feel is it's ancestral knowledge that, you know, a lot of us are awakening within our bodies, and especially within our God. That when you run into when you're your own people and you're like thinking through Sm'algya and realizing that there are other ones of, especially of your own generation, that are thinking through it. It's just a really wonderful feeling of doing the good work for our ancestors and for our future. And so I wanted to share Sekyalimi's drawing because it really, really does a good job of showing, you know, all of these different ways of being that our God is connected to. If you go to the Sm'algya dictionary, the old Sm'algya dictionary, as I was showing in my alphabet presentation, when you look up a word, be sure to scroll all the way down and go to related entries. You can click on any of these. But this to give you a sense of all of these ways of being in Sm'algya, like ko, to calm down, amaya, ko, to recover your composure, and just the God ways of feeling and being in Sm'algya are abundant, and we're always running into older ways of using these words that we're trying to bring back into use. So that is the end of my presentation, and what I can do now, if where is, I gotta scroll, there's so many people online, I have to scroll all the way down to to see where is Sagol. There you are, Sagol. I can go to some of the words I introduced and we can repeat them back.
Wait, what? Oh,
Okay. Here we go. So starting with, we went over this page, so we'll go with this one. Luwantka godu, Luwantka godu. Michelle,
Luwantka godu.
I'm 7. Pamela,
The same phrase?
would you like me to say any of the other ones? And we can do it that way, so we can do kind of a call and response.
Sure. I
Which
could
one?
the next one.
The next one? Luhachkagodu.
Luhachgagodu.
I'm 7. Lindsay, which one of these would you like to say?
I'm very sad.
Lutochkagodu.
Lutochgagodu.
I'm 7. Charlene.
So we in I'm very sad. We do say the and the sh. We say godu. Or do we say some? Is it a different sound that I'm like when those two are together?
So it's the is the X and is the Bardell.
Okay, I just didn't hear you say both of them, so I thought maybe they said something different. So when you say it fast, it's hard to hear, I guess.
Yeah, and I also just probably need to put this. I've heard from teachers to put it right underneath you. I have it to the side. So lu toch gagodu.
Lutochgagodu.
I'm 7. Those are 2 important and unique sounds. You nailed them. I'm 7. And you had to scroll over one. Barbara, which one of these would you like to try?
Lutochgagodu.
I'm 7. Local am Will.
Let's do Luhachkagodu.
I'm 7. Luchach gagodu. Serb.
Lutochgagodu.
Lutoch gagodu. I'm 7. Cindy.
Okay. Lutochgagodu.
I'm 7.
Okay.
I'm 7. Lutoch gagodu. Kristen.
Thank you.
How about Luwantka godu?
Luwantka gagodu. I'm 7. Dimsel haitgibao.
Amagadi celiacs.
Amagari Sylvia.
Lutochka godu.
Lutoch gagodu. I'm 7. That is so awesome. I have to say that many learners shy away from the ones that have the unique sounds back to back, but not you guys. Lit Alec Daugibao. Amagari Silga Stash. Which one do you want to give a try?
Amagari Sula. Lutochgagodu.
Lutoch gagodu. I'm not sure if Dash Nancy and Lydia are at your computer, and or Alex. They got their cameras off.
I'm here.
I'm here.
Okay. Do you guys want to give one of these a try?
I'll try that one. The bottom one.
Sure.
Because that's the hardest one for me. Lutochgagodu.
I'm 7. Lutoch gagodu.
Gagodu.
Lydia.
Luhachgagodu.
I'm 7. Alex.
Do you care which one I do?
Fine. I just have let everyone pick one.
Lutochgagodu.
Lutoch gagodu. I'm 7. Wait, what? We'll go to the next one. Luchagagodu or Luchagagod. Lu aga got. Hatli got. How got. Hatli got. How got. Why what? Michela.
Look aga got.
M7. Pamela.
Look aga got.
Oh, nice back. Hard K. M7. Lindsay.
Hatli got.
Hatli got. M7. Sekyalini.
Hatley got.
Look Charlene.
How got.
M7. Barbara.
Look aga got.
Look aga got. Local M. Will.
Look aga got.
M7. Arlene.
Look aga got.
M7. Cindy.
Look aga got.
Local M. Kristen.
Look aga got.
M7. Dimsil Haitkibao.
Look aga got.
These are all thinking about something today. Remember, you guys could choose anyone. Lit Alec Daugibao.
Look aga got.
Look aga got.
Did you say my name? You cut out.
Oh yeah, I did.
Okay. Look aga got.
Oh,
Look
Alex.
agu got.
Oh.
Zoe wanted to say that one. Can you say that? Look aga got. Look agu got.
Oh, look what look, wee hoist. Wee hoist. I love hearing little ones speak Somali.
Oh, especially when it was her idea.
Oh, look what Amtab and Zoe. Alfie.
How good.
Oh God. Dash Nancy.
Look aga got.
Why? Lydia. Limim Hiwas.
Hatli got.
Oh, M7. Why? And I think that this is good for all of us to know how to say, because this is exactly what we're coming together to do. And I apologize if I'm going to miss any of you guys because lots of other people are logging on, which is a wonderful thing. So trying to keep track. Sakait, so that's a back G. So make sure that everybody put your fingers really lightly right here. When you feel the vibration of this G, it should be down in here and not up here. Sakait, 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 and then ulam, so your lips are pulled back. Ulam, ot, and your the back G is here. Ot, so same back G as sakait. Sakait ulam ot. Sakait ulam ot. Yeah, it's easier if you smile when you say it. Sakait ulam got helps you to pull your lips in for ul. Sakait ulam got. Why? So in my classes, my regular Sm'algya classes, I'll usually count to Kwali, and we'll all say it together. So everybody unmute your mics and we'll see how it sounds with the Sunni people. Here we go. Kupo Kwali. Sagay. Local Amabas. Okay. Kikwa. We'll do it one more time. So we'll sagait ulam got. Okay. O gupo huli. Oh, look, well, I'm not gonna have you guys sing, but I could.